Being a Maoist, I hold to the idea, the political principle, that if somebody's attacking you, like people that have no reason to back you up in the first place are attacking you, then you're probably doing the right thing. Mao said that I hold, meaning him, that it is bad as far as we are concerned if a person, a political party, an army, or a school is not attacked by the enemy. For in that case, it would definitely mean that we have sunk to the level of the enemy. It is good if we are attacked by the enemy, since it proves that we have drawn a clear line of demarcation between the enemy and ourselves. It is still better if the enemy attacks us wildly and paints us as utterly black and without a single virtue. It demonstrates that we have not only drawn a clear line of demarcation between the enemy and ourselves, but have achieved a great deal in our work. So a lot of people would ask, like, oh, why would AOC be attacking the Green Party? Like, why does she give a shit about this little bitty party that hasn't won an election? That's something that she's really, really likes to harp on. Well, you have to keep in mind that she's doing her job, okay? AOC is paid to do a job. AOC is allowed access to the inner sanctum of the Democratic Party. She was allowed to speak at the Democratic National Convention. Not a single Palestinian was allowed on this stage, but AOC was. Why was AOC allowed on this stage and Palestinians weren't? Because AOC is doing a job. She serves a purpose. Her job is the same job as Bernie Sanders' job was. It is to shepherd gullible, naive, so-called progressive people into the Democratic Party. That is her sole purpose. Okay? Before she got elected to Congress, she would have loved the Green Party. She did love the Green Party. Now, she doesn't give a shit. She is spending, like, if she spent as much time helping out Cori Bush as she does riding Biden's dick, like, she literally did not call for Biden to drop out. Nancy Pelosi beat her to that. Nancy fucking Pelosi is not a progressive. You market yourself, because that's all it is, marketing. You market yourself as a progressive, and you let Nancy fucking Pelosi beat you to the punch in calling for Joe Biden to drop out. What type of fucking progressive are you? So why is AOC, why is the Democratic Party, of which she is a part, because AOC doesn't give a shit about DSA. All she cares about is the Democrats. Why are the Democrats attacking Jill Stein? This is why. I've shown this poll before, but Jill Stein has literally split the Muslim vote. 29.10% of Muslim voters are considering supporting Jill Stein. 16.5% are undecided. 8.8% are not voting. This has never happened in the history of elections in America, in which Muslim voters have been a substantial chunk of the electorate. So, again, Jill Stein leads with Muslim American voters in 3 swing states, survey shows. Overall, Vice President Kamala Harris and Jill Stein are the leading candidates in this year's presidential election among Muslim American voters, according to data released by the Council on American Islamic Relations, the nation's leading voice on Muslim civil liberties. So basically the Muslim NAACP. In a survey conducted over 2 days in late August, 1,076 registered voters from around the country pitched in with their preferences, and despite the widespread anger directed toward the Biden administration and Democrats for bankrolling Israel's year-long war in Gaza, 29.4% of respondents said they would still vote for the party. But hot on Harris's heels, 29.1% said they will vote for Jill Stein, who has controversially said that what is happening in Gaza makes any genocide pale by comparison, and has made ending the Israeli war in Gaza a key pillar of our party platform. I should have said Israeli war in Palestine, because it's not just in Gaza. In the 2016 election, Jill Stein won 1% of the overall vote. She was seen as a spoiler candidate who divided the liberal bloc by shifting support away from Hillary Clinton, who was also a very horrible candidate. I don't want to host the fucking space. Go fuck yourself. Build your own platform. Fuck you, pamphlets. Do you think that AOC became reactionary because she got elected, or was she never truly progressive? I think at one point in time she had progressive tendencies. But I also think that she was carefully curated and carefully developed and carefully branded and carefully marketed to do exactly what she's doing now. She's a sheepdog. That's exactly what she is. She serves and works for the class enemy. So Jill Stein and Butch Ware, who I adore, were on the Breakfast Club today. And a lot of people are mocking and making fun of her. But she said nothing wrong, neither did Butch.
Take that ass up in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa's filling in for Jess, and we have our sister Angela Rye with us this morning, helping us out.
Hello.
I hate her.
And we got some special guests joining us. We have Dr. Jill Stein. Welcome.
Hello.
And Dr. Butch Ware.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
Yes.
I have that exact same keffiyeh.
Good morning.
Morning.
We in the building.
Y'all are the Green Party presidential candidate and running mate. Tell the people, what is the Green Party and how are they different from the Democrats and the Republicans?
Well, for one thing, we don't take money from billionaires and bankers and
Okay.
APAC and Wall Street and the war machine. So we're a people-powered party. That's what makes us totally different. That's what liberates us to actually tell it like it is and to stand up and fight for the people.
This is really important. Like when you run as a Democrat, you have to keep in mind that like you have to do what they tell you to. Like you can't just go out and say, long live Hamas, long live the Palestinian resistance, because they're going to be like, are you fucking insane? And they're going to pull support from you. They're going to pull support for you. Like AIPAC is literally buying and unseating Democratic incumbents in favor of more pro-Israel challengers. That's what happened to Jamal Bowman, who is by no means a friend of Palestine. That's what happened to Cori Bush, who is a friend of Palestine. But yeah, like why would you even run as a Democrat if you are so-called progressive? Because that is what they're going to do to you. That is what they're going to do to you. If you run as a Democrat, they're going to fuck you over if you speak your piece. So either you do what AOC did and you capitulate to the powers that be, or you lose your seat like Cori Bush did. Viva Hamas indeed. You love me. Aw.
Or the healthcare that
So this is another thing that gets me. Like pretty much every socialist in DSA says that we want to eventually build the independent party, right? We do not want to be hog-tied to the Democrats for the rest of our political existence. So why the fuck would you attack a formation that is basically what we want to end up being, right? An independent left-wing organization. Why would you do that? Because the same thing that you are helping the Democrats do to the Greens, the exact same thing is going to happen to DSA when we eventually declare our independence. And hopefully it's sooner rather than later, because climate change is eventually going to kill us all. So we need an independent, strong left-wing party in this country. Honestly, I think black people will found it. Like black people need our own fucking party. Like Democrats have run our cities, the cities in which black people live, for decades. Black Democrats. What is the black Democrat Andre Dickless in Atlanta doing? Nothing. Well, worse than nothing. He's actually doing harmful things to black people. Cop City. Democrat mayor in New York City, Eric Adams. He's probably going to end up in a federal prison. I do wish that the Greens and DSA were friends. Like the only reason that a lot of these rightists in DSA are attacking the Greens is because they're fucking with that girl AOC. Like it is wild. AOC is what happens when you do not discipline your electeds. Like her policy positions, the stupid shit that she's allowed to say, the stupid shit that she has said has lost us to Muslim caucus. They've lost us to Palestinian Solidarity Working Group. They've isolated us. That's why I'm really, really trying to push an unamended version of MSR 12 in my local DSA branch. We need that. Like we have to actually demonstrate without stupid amendments and hemming and hawing and, oh, you can't purge people. Yes. If you're a Zionist, I do not want you in DSA. Like, why is everybody so fucking shiesty around the issue of Zionism? Like, if that resolution was about kicking out KKK members or Proud Boys or fascists or other weirdos like that, it wouldn't be an issue. But because we're so fucking hog-tied to the Democrats, it's an issue. And everybody has to slice and dice. That's the same thing that happened to the national resolution. Of course, they're not going to take that seriously. Of course, our comrades in Palestinian youth movement, of course, our comrades within our lifetime, of course, our comrades and Students for Justice in Palestine are not going to accept that half-assed, washed-out bullshit. Why would they? Like, if I had an anti-blackness resolution, if I had a resolution to expel people who have displayed open acts of anti-blackness, who have openly been in anti-black organizations like the fucking Ku Klux Klan, and you sliced and diced that amendment, then yeah, I would not want to fuck with you. Palestinians have the right to feel the same way. Like, why does everybody get to be militant except Palestinians? Do Palestinians have the right to rebel by any means necessary and reclaim their land from the river to the sea? Yes, the fuck they do. Do black people deserve self-determination? Yes, the fuck we do. So what? I don't get it. But AOC is what happens when you do not discipline your electeds, when the organization works to prop up AOC. She does not deserve to be propped up. She has the Democrats propping her up. She talks to Biden every fucking week. She doesn't need DSA. She doesn't. Like, we haven't even censured her for calling our Palestinian comrades who demonstrated against that atrocious Nova monstrosity in Manhattan. We didn't even censor her for calling Palestinian activists anti-Semitic, yet you expect our organization to seriously be considered friends of Palestine. Really? That's the whitest shit I've ever heard.
That we need as a human right, for the housing that we need, because half of America right now, half of all renters are struggling to keep a roof over their heads. That's not a surprise, I'm sure, to the listeners on this program. You know,
And another thing, like, why are so-called progressives so anti-green, so anti-Jill Stein? Yes, I get it. She's had some crunchy granola hippie shit in the past. But, like, okay, so what? Like, I haven't seen anything that I really disagree with in Jill Stein's platform. That's why I'm voting for her in November. Like, nothing. This is what an independent DSA platform would look like. What will a Jill Stein administration do around housing? End homelessness and housing insecurity with the Homes Guarantee. Nationally adopt housing first practices. Fund social housing as part of the real Green New Deal to build at least 15 million green, union-built, publicly owned homes over the next 10 years. Support a universal tenants bill of rights. Like, this is shit that DSA chapters support at the local level. Direct the Department of Labor to assist with the establishment of a national tenants union. Implement universal rent control and a prohibition on excessive rental deposits. Eliminate credit checks from rental applications. Impose taxes on unoccupied homes, vacancy tax, and investment rental homestead properties to curb speculation. Expand house choice initiatives and provide full funding to all existing project-based rental assistance contracts. Repeal the Fair Cloth Amendment so that the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, can build public housing again. Prohibit predatory lending. Require clearly listed mortgage costs and risks in no fine print. Expand HUD and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA rural development programs for first-time home buyers with down payment assistance, direct guaranteed loans, and pre-purchase housing counseling. Reinvigorate federal housing programs and build publicly owned housing for families, for the elderly, and for people with disabilities. Expand and protect the homeowner mortgage interest benefit and eliminate the second home and yacht loopholes. So if there's a candidate running, state, local, or federal, that had all of this shit just on housing alone, DSA would be breaking our fucking backs to canvass and work and make sure that person was elected. But because this is from the Green Party, people are like, like, why? Why are we continuing to allow ourselves to be the ass tail of the Democrats? Why? And yes, Alberto Fujimori did die yesterday. He died 3 years to the day that President de Gonzalo died. Maybe Gonzalo needed company in hell. He was smitten by Chairman Gonzalo from heaven. Organizers need to represent the Green Party as a third option. Otherwise, we might have a whatever that is moment. I agree. Like, I don't expect you to go and vote for the Green Party. Well, actually, yes, I do. But I'm not going to force you. Like, I believe that a person's vote should be like, okay, you take all of the various candidates. Now, if you vote for Trump, I'm going to roast the shit out of you. Like, why the fuck would you go do that? Why would you do that? If you vote for Kamala, I'm going to roast the shit out of you. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Because you're scared. Your little Eloy brain won't allow you to consider an alternative. But a person's vote is private. Yes, we have a secret ballot. Like, I'm not going to harass you because of who you vote for, unless it's for Trump or Kamala, of course. But, like, you seriously need to consider this stuff. Like, why do people hate Jill Stein so much? Like, why would AOC say this dumb shit? Nobody needs talking points so that Jill Stein has as much as a bingo game. Wow, that's ageist in the last decade. And if you actually give a damn about people, you organize, build power and infrastructure, and win. First of all, what the fuck is building power? Okay. Like a lot of you people don't know what building power means. Building power is not getting a bunch of Democrats elected that are going to fuck you over and then patting yourself on the back. Okay. That's not building power. That's what Malcolm X would call being a political chump. Okay. That is not building political power. Building political power. First of all, how do we define power? Power is the ability to define something and make it act in the according manner, in the desired manner, rather. Okay? If you cannot force the government to do something that it otherwise would not do, if not for your intervention, you are not exercising power. You are not building power. You are being a political chump. You are securing individual power for stooges like AOC, but you are not building concrete, collective political power. Because we know, fuck ContraPoints. Do I have a favorite books list anywhere? Yes, it's on my Medium. But this just shows why we need more political education in DSA. And not just in DSA, but all across the left. A lot of you people don't even know what power is. How the fuck are you going to exercise power? How are you going to build power if you don't even know what power is? Like, this is supposed to be the queen of the left in the United States, and she doesn't even know what power is. She gave a speech at a genocide fascist convention, but this is supposed to be the queen of the left in the United States. And then you wonder why the Palestinian people think that left organizations in this country are a fucking joke. Okay? Like, if we want to stop being a fucking joke, then we have to stop engaging in clown behavior. This is clown behavior. This is clown behavior. What has AOC organized? Well, she did organize that stupid Jamal Bowman event in which half the attendees collapsed from heat exhaustion because they didn't think to bring water. But what infrastructure has she built? What infrastructure has she built? Like, she's getting roasted in the comments. AOC is one of the least effective Congress people in Congress. All of the shit that she got elected on, she hasn't passed none of it. None of it. The Revolutionary Blackout Network has been generating man engagement today. AOC among the most ineffective lawmakers in Congress. But here she is running a fucking mouth. Why is she running a fucking mouth about the Green Party? If the Green Party is so important, if the Green Party is so useless, why is she spending so much time attacking it? Because she knows that, first of all, the Green Party is to her left. She wants to position herself as the left to sheepdog innocent white people, innocent white so-called leftists, into backing the Democrats, which they would probably do anyways. These memes are top tier. But she's getting roasted in the comments. You haven't accomplished anything except watch your friends lose to AIPAC while pulling the ladder up. Yeah, rip Corey. Fuck Jamal Bowman. You are the biggest sellout to the working class and peace movement in modern history. AOC got caught lying about Jill Stein, the Green Party, and her personal support of parties outside of the duopoly, and now she's obfuscating as if it's something to celebrate that her own party helps rig elections and undercuts democracy. What is the value of Democrats winning if you won't fight for raising the minimum wage, Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, or any other policy you took from the Greens? This is another thing. Like, AOC heisted all of her shit from the Green Party. The Green Party has been campaigning on this shit for years. But again, oh, you don't know what you're doing. You haven't won a bingo game. It just seems like a bunch of sour grapes to me, to be honest. Healthcare. How is she going to stop us from getting sick? A Jill Stein administration will immediately implement national improved Medicare for all. Why doesn't AOC mention Medicare for all anymore? As a precursor to establishing a UK-style national healthcare service, which will replace private hospital, private medical practice, and private medical insurance with a publicly owned, democratically controlled healthcare service that will guarantee healthcare as a human right to everyone in the United States. Cancel all medical debt. Every single person in this country has some type of medical debt, even if it's for an ambulance ride. Okay, that is outrageous. We are the most indebted country in world history. This is something that needs to be at the top of every single progressive political platform. Do the Democrats want to cancel all medical debt? Of course not. Advance reproductive rights and codify Roe v. Wade. Ensure that the U.S. healthcare system operates with the full protection, respect, and inclusion of human rights for all, including women and two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, etc. people with disabilities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Restore public trust in the government's medical agencies and institutions by enforcing audits, transparency, and oversight in their internal processes. Restore confidence in the FDA, CDC, and other regulatory boards by 1, closing the revolving door between corporations and regulatory boards, and 2, getting big money out of politics by adopting public funding of elections. Expand public funding and phase out private corporate funding of medical and pharmaceutical research conducted in public health agencies, public universities, and medical schools. Ban patents where the research and development has been paid for by taxpayers via public colleges, the National Institute of Health, the Center for Disease Control, and other government agencies. Restore funding to all medical governmental agencies, including the Health and Human Services, the National Institute of Health, and the Center for Disease Control. Take the pharmaceutical industry into public ownership and democratic control. Big Pharma has failed to serve the public interest in industry awash in private profit as it gouges consumers with monopolistic pricing and a business model centered on addictive opioids. I'm really, really glad they're raising this. Addictive opioids and patent-protected medicines. It's time to ensure the production of life-saving medicines that millions rely on with their production as public goods. Eliminate healthcare inequities and gaps in all disadvantaged communities by investing in local clinics and community hospitals. Establish a federal community care agency to provide community-based support, long-term in-home and in-community care, and visitation care to seniors and people with disabilities. Ensure fair compensation for home caregivers. Guarantee long-term care for patients in their home and community. Prohibit the keeping of people's possessions by assisted living facilities after death. I did not know that they robbed the dead. That's a nice one to end up cursed. Eliminate electronic visit verification, EVV, and other burdensome and discriminatory compliance requirements and enact protections against healthcare surveillance. Offer responsible and transparent end-of-life care to those who want it. Respect bodily autonomy and personal freedom and choice in medical treatments, including the right to dignified assisted death. Fund and support research and development of treatment for rare diseases. Federal legalization and funding of cannabis medical research. Okay. What is she going to do about COVID? Launch an urgent national program to rebuild the U.S. epidemic and pandemic response. Review and update the 06 Pandemic Preparedness Act, last updated prior to COVID in 2019, to ensure U.S. pandemic preparedness is fully funded. Ban private investment in CDC healthcare projects in order to restore public trust. Strengthen the infrastructure for accelerated emergency distribution of information, medicines, vaccines, and treatments. Fund and provide high-quality personal protective equipment, such as N95 masks and all diagnostic testing, including viral load testing, free at local pharmacies. Mandate and provide funding for high-quality air filtration code improvements for all public transportation, public buildings, schools, and businesses. Restore OSHA-supported airborne protections for healthcare workers. I don't know why the fuck they got rid of those. Establish policies that will eliminate COVID transmission in schools, healthcare facilities, and on public transportation, and further study the Novavax protein-based COVID-19 vaccine to determine safety and efficacy for children under 12 and remove restrictions if findings allow. And she quotes Gandhi. That's probably the first thing that I disagree with in this whole thing. I've seen the Breakfast Club interview. Seems like Angela Rye got her marching orders too. In fact, I don't need them. She's a well-trained dog. That is, yeah, I definitely agree. Like, they definitely brought her on to try to make an ass out of Stein and Ware, but it ended up flipping the script on him.
Nuclear wars in the making right now. This is where our dollars are going. It's half of our congressional budget. It's $12,000 on average per household in America to keep this endless war machine going right now. Yet we have such urgent and dire needs, especially among communities of color and African Americans. We've got really.
So she's genuinely raising like issues that are impacting Black people, colonized people, Latino people, Indigenous people. The Democrats and Republicans are not. The Democrats don't give a fuck, and the Republicans sure as fuck don't give a fuck. Like, what the Republicans are trying to do is split the Black vote by playing us off Latinos. They basically want to split the last of the old Democratic coalition. The Democrats are attacking Jill Stein so hard, in major part because they realize that younger Black people were not buying their shit. And here's the thing, like, it's not that we're politically unaware. It's not that we're stupid, okay? There's no way to lose somebody's support than by assuming that they are stupid. Me and millions of other Black millennials were raised as Democrats. My grandma and my mom taught me that Democrats are for Blacks and Democrats are for the poor. We're both. We were both when I was growing up, okay? So my grandma was born in the middle of the Great Depression. My mom grew up under Reagan. So they came of age during this whole Democratic coalition between Black people, Latino people, labor, women, etc. Okay. But now that coalition is falling apart. Okay. Because like nobody gives a shit anymore. Democrats are basically what the Republicans were in the 70s. Like they don't offer us anything. Look at cities that are governed by Democrats now. Look at cities in which many, many Black people live. Look at what's happening. What do we get? Cops, fentanyl, cop city, murder and chaos in the streets. Like, what have the Democrats done for Black people for them to continue to get our undivided attention and allegiance? Absolutely nothing. It's all pandering because they assume that we're stupid. You cannot just show up and shake hands at a Black church every few years and expect to get 99% of our votes. That's not happening. That's why I say that Black people need our own party. Neither party gives a fuck about us. And the Greens are small. There are 44 million of us in this country. Imagine if we were so disciplined that we had our own Black party like Malcolm wanted. We have our own Black political party and every one of us voted for it. Like, can you imagine the chaos, the hell that would kick up with the Democrats? Shit, they would probably put a bullet in the person's head that founded it. And yes, Charlemagne the God is a fucking chaotic individual.
Critical
That's been known.
needs that we need to be meeting. And that's what the Green Party is about, actually fighting.
The Green Party is unserious. Explain to me how they're unserious. Explain to me how AOC, supporting one of the genocide parties, supporting one part of the duopoly is serious. Explain to me how AOC is serious. Explain to me how the time-worn progressive strategy of backing Democrats and just turn around and fuck you in the ass. Explain to me how that strategy is serious. Explain to me how that strategy has gotten us gains. And explain to me how the Green Party is unserious, please. Because I've been seeing this a lot. But nobody has been able to provide me a theoretically founded explanation as to why the Green Party is unserious. As a matter of fact, I've noticed whenever I get into discussions with rightists, like it's all vibes. Okay, they either try to scaremonger. My people went through slavery. You ain't fucking scaring me, bro. You're either trying to scaremonger or you're trying to cast aspersions on people's seriousness. Like, what is serious? What is serious? Is serious getting endorsements from Alberto Gonzalez and Dick Cheney? Is that serious? Is continuing to dance on the graves of hundreds of thousands of Palestinian people serious? You need to get fucking serious, bro. Only serious politicians like Kamala Harris can endorse from war criminals like Dick Cheney. Like, do you all remember the 2000s? I was a kid, but I'm also a politics nerd. I've always been a politics nerd. Like, in the 2000s, Dick Cheney was literally the embodiment of evil. He shot his friend in the face. It made his friend apologize. That's how evil he is. He conned the entire country into invading Iraq so him and his buddies could make shitload off of Halliburton stock. That's how evil Dick Cheney is. If the Democrats are running somebody that Dick fucking Cheney is comfortable endorsing, I don't want no parts of it. I don't want no parts of it. I'm not pro AOC. But how many local candidates is the Green Party running, for example? Also, are they organizing in labor? Yeah. Like, there's Green Party people running at every level of the government. And yes, they are organizing in labor. Like, do you really think that there are no union members in the Green Party? That's a shitty aspersion. Like, you have to come with facts when you're talking to me, my friend. Let's go back to the interview.
For people, planet, and peace over profit.
What would you say to people that feel like the Green Party is really taking votes away from Democrats and it's a disruptor? A lot of people, especially a lot of older people, when you talk about other parties outside of Republican and Democrats, they say, oh, all they're doing is being disrupting. They're just taking the votes away from other parties. What are your thoughts on that?
So that's kind of the propaganda of the power machine that.
Like, what's wrong with taking votes away from Democrats? Like, are we in a democracy or are we not in a democracy? Like, why exactly are Democrats entitled to votes? What have Democrats done to warrant people voting for them? Why are people not voting for Democrats anymore? Why are Muslims not voting for Democrats? Because they're murdering their people in Palestine. I'm not going to go and vote for a party that's helping to kill me. I'm not. And people are like, oh, we need Kamala to inspire. Like, who's going to be inspired by fucking Kamala Harris? Who's going to be inspired by a fucking prosecutor? Nobody. Nobody. Like, did y'all see the debate the other day? Both of them were just fucking embarrassing. Just fucking embarrassing. But again, we're serious people. We're serious people. We get endorsements from Dick Cheney and fucking Condi Rice and George W. Bush. Like, back in the day, a Democrat would hide that endorsement because that would be embarrassing. That would lose them votes. But now you got dumbass so-called progressives that are like, oh, yay, Popular Front. Newsflash, Popular Front only works when there's communists in control. Otherwise, it's just a running dog of the bourgeoisie, the left wing of the bourgeoisie. A Popular Front has to have communist, ideological, and political leadership. Otherwise, it's going to fail. Well, liberals are Eloy. They're out picking their flowers and they want to go back to brunch. They want to drink their mimosas. Meanwhile, the Morlocks are waiting in the wings and ready to eat them all the fuck up. And yes, I know the Morlocks are technically descended from the working class. So somebody asked, what are Jill Stein's positions on prisons and policing? The Jill Stein administration will ban private prisons and detention centers, abolish the death penalty, end mass incarceration and build a system centered on restorative justice, fully legalize cannabis for recreational and medicinal use with similar restrictions to alcohol, release nonviolent drug offenders from prison, remove drug offenses from records, and guarantee both pre- and post-release support. Ensure drug treatment on demand, begin the process of legalizing hallucinogens such as LSD, psilocybin, and other related substances, and fund studies on their medicinal benefits. Begin the process of decriminalizing personal possession of hard drugs, treat drug misuse as a health problem, not a criminal problem, increase the number of public defenders and ensure a reasonable caseload and good pay, ban mandatory minimum sentencing and 3 strikes laws, abolish unpaid and underpaid prison labor, mandate and enforce higher standards for living conditions in prisons, establish community control of police with oversight boards and power to audit police departments, issue subpoenas, remove officers, and block rehiring of offending officers, end cash bail, fines, and fees that disproportionately impact poor and working class people, eliminate all cop city type training police training facilities that militarize policing and teach dangerous and abusive policing practices, end qualified immunity for police and prosecutorial immunity, federalize all police misconduct investigations, fund state and national police misconduct data collection systems, end the militarization of police, end the 1033 program, end training of U.S. police on occupation-style policing by Israeli Defense Forces, end civil asset forfeiture for private citizens, basically fix it so that the cops can't just come take your shit. They'll say that you're a drug dealer, they'll just come take all your shit. They'll take your house, take your car, they'll take your clothes, they'll take anything that's expensive. And most of the stuff is either auctioned off to buy them more toys or they steal it. Ensure the funding of community-based youth programs as a deterrent to both petty and violent crime and to reduce interactions with police. Investigate and prosecute sexual violence, kidnapping, and human trafficking. Fight corporate white-collar crime with resources proportional to its economic impact. End warrantless mass surveillance. Pardon whistleblowers and political prisoners. End the epidemic of gun violence with common sense gun safety laws. Now, I oppose this because you all know what I say. We don't need gun control. We need cracker control. So Jill Stein opposes cracker control. She supports gun control. That's the first thing I've run across in this platform that I oppose. How do I feel about the PSL candidates? They're not on the ballot in my state, so it really doesn't matter. But again, I imagine that their platform is something similar to this. What did Owen Jones do? Oh, he got that fucking guy. He got that fucking weird guy banned off Twitter. Yeah. But yeah, this is probably the first thing. But again, it's a hippie party. It's the Greens, for fuck's sake, not the protracted People's War Party of the United States. Yeah, so you all not familiar with my lore? Like that was one of my most popular videos, but I deleted it. Yeah, I had a video that said that we don't need gun control, we need cracker control. And I also was on Dr. Phil a few years back because my family stupidly moved into an upper middle class white neighborhood. And yeah, they thought that I tried to blow up their family swing set or some shit like that. But Yeah. Dr. Phil found one of my old tweets where I said that we don't need gun control, we need crack control. And he read it out loud in his Oklahoma drawl. That's kind of my claim to fame. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Not my brightest moment.
That wants you to stay in your place, basically, and to think that resistance is futile and think that you don't own your vote. I mean, who owns
Why did I delete my banger videos? I don't fucking know. This was like, what, 2 years ago?
your vote?
I don't know. I think I got sick of looking at them.
Politicians have to earn your vote. They don't own it. And that's the question. Are they earning?
Bro, this was 2 laptops ago. No, there's nowhere to watch my old videos. There is nowhere to watch my old videos. This was like 2 or 3 fucking MacBooks ago, bro. I'm sorry. They're never coming back.
Your vote? You know, when you actually look at our condition, people are facing a crisis really in every dimension.
She definitely needs public speaking training. Like, I'm not going to fight that. She definitely needs public speaking training. Maybe I can offer it.
Of our lives, and it's not getting better, yet our resources are being squandered. 68% of Americans want an immediate ceasefire and an end to the genocide. 68%. Yet you can hardly get a single vote on that behalf in Congress, and you're getting a standing ovation per minute for that war criminal Netanyahu, you know, who is carrying out this genocide, which could be ended with a.
So this is how a DSA candidate should talk. This is exactly how DSA candidates need to talk. This is how DSA cadre in general need to talk. Like, this is how I talk. Like, we need to openly put socialist politics. And no, the Green Party is not an explicitly socialist policy. No, she is not looking for a VP. Her vice presidential candidate, well, her vice presidential nominee, Butch Ware, is actually in this interview with her. And no, she's not a terrible public speaker, but like, America is a very media-driven society. It's very driven on charisma and all that bullshit. Like, she could definitely do better. Why hasn't DSA made a party yet? For a variety of reasons. Like, we have no ideological. I mean, we have a platform. You can get it on our website. We have a platform, but we don't have the level of political unity that would be required for the establishment of a proper socialist party. Like, if we were to establish a party tomorrow, it'd probably fall apart in fighting, and nobody wants that.
The simple phone call from the president, just like Reagan did, just like Eisenhower did before.
So the black dude in the keffiyeh, that's Butch Ware. That's her vice presidential nominee.
For him,
I like him. He's been cooking AOC on Twitter all day.
The U.S. is in charge. This is our genocide going on right now. And don't let them talk you into voting for genocide. If you vote for genocide, you're endorsing it, you're enabling it. We can stop it. We actually have the power. And I'll just quote 2 people, Frederick Douglass, who said, power concedes nothing without a demand.
Again, why don't DSA people talk like this? Like, every time I listen to, well, with the exception of Abdul Ismano, if you're watching this, how you doing, brother? But like, a lot of our candidates are like, they're all mealy mouth. They're trying to appeal to middle-class white liberals. It's not how it works. DSA is literally not a party. We do not apply democratic centralism. Okay, like, do you have any idea how hard it is to get expelled from DSA? Do you have any idea how hard it is to get expelled from DSA? It's very, very, very hard. We do not have the level of political or ideological or cadre discipline required of a party at this time. So, also, guess who else has been cooking AOC all day? Brianna Joy Gray, who actually retweeted one of my posts. What a petty, bad faith hack she is. God knows you don't want to play the game of tweeting out all her mistakes. So, yeah, rock Glasshouse. AOC initially didn't even know the 3 branches of government. Like, this is all silly. Okay, like, basically, like, if this is all you have to attack Jill Stein on, like, come on. She doesn't know how many fucking people are in Congress. Like, okay, what is this? First grade civics class? Like, most people in the United States do not know what's in Congress. How many people are in Congress? Like, should they be alienated from Congress? Like, should they be alienated from participating in politics? This elitist bullshit has to go. It simply doesn't work. Why is a socialist mocking somebody for slipping in an interview? AOC will not bring a fraction of the ire that she has for Jill Stein to Harris or the rest of the genocidal Democrats. Jill is a genuine left candidate who shares AOC's ostensible, in big air quotes, values, but AOC will punch left to carry water for a candidate who won't even fight for 15. That is true. Let's see what Jill Stein has to say about our Indigenous brothers and sisters. Tribal and Indigenous sovereignty. A Jill Stein administration will guarantee as a human right the sovereignty of the Indigenous people of Turtle Island, today's USA. We recognize the history of broken treaties, stolen and occupied lands, and the desecration of the Indigenous way of life, so our policies aim to redress harm through restorative justice. A Jill Stein administration will honor all existing treaties with Indigenous nations, ensure free, prior, and informed consent for any and all activity on tribal sovereign land, establish a federal land back commission, create a task force of tribal nations leaders to assess their needs for infrastructure, resources, education, and economic development, support a Truth and Reconciliation Commission and a reparations plan to address Indigenous peoples' economic dispossession. Amend the federal regulations to streamline the recognition process of tribal nations, Native Hawaiian nations, and other Pacific and Caribbean islanders. Increase appointments to tribal liaison positions, boards, and commissions to ensure representation on all policies impacting tribal nations. Enforce the United States Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People to require tribal consent for granting construction permits on treaty lands, waterways, and unusual and custom areas. Prohibit all activities on sovereign territory without free, prior, and informed consent. Defend tribal rights to regulate and manage their environment's natural resources. Mandate all property tax revenues from tribal lands be shared with the tribes. Remove policies and practices that create barriers in upholding Native voting rights at all levels of government. Protect Native religious freedoms. Declare the second Monday in October as Indigenous Peoples Day. Fund the Indian Health Service and establish at least one IHS clinic in each state. Establish a fully funded medical facility on all reservations. Community health centers and behavioral and mental health services for Native youth. Ensure that the Department of Education fully funds and includes tribal sovereignty curriculum developed by tribal leaders in all states. Provide funding for judicial training on the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978 to eliminate the loss of Native children's ties and identities to their families, cultures, and homelands. Improve and align government policies and efforts, including data collection to appropriately identify and classify Indigenous and multiracial students. And it's more and more and more and more. Like, I think this even mocks DSA's platform, honestly. Indigenous people are more than 10% of the United States population. See, what they teach in school is that all Indigenous people were wiped out. Like, they teach us that there's only 20,000 Indigenous people left. How many Indigenous people are in the United States? How many Indigenous people in the United States? There are between 3.1 and 8.7 million Indigenous people in the United States. That just shows how the ruling class and the settler class, what basically they want the erasure of all Indigenous people to be reality. But no, there's still 8.7 million at the most Indigenous people.
The empire is trying to talk you out of your demand right now, but we have that demand. We have the numbers to make the demand. We got the solutions. We've got a system. We have an analysis which actually works, and we got to stand up and make that demand. They're trying to shame you and blame you out of making that demand that belongs to us. Our vote is our power in a democracy. Don't let them talk you out of it. And the second thing is Alice Walker, the novelist and poet, who said the biggest way people give up power is by not knowing we have it to start with. We got the power. If you look at the numbers, if you look at the values, if you look at the solutions that are out there, they're out there really waiting for us to stand up and demand them. And if we don't, that's at our peril. It's not just that we're making a mess out of the world. We've committed some 80 regime change operations since the Second World War. What's going on in Gaza it's like a microcosm. It's like a symbol of empire and colonialism.
I agree. So back to AOC getting roasted. AOC deserves to be primaried. Fuck this genocidal B word. I do not like that word. I don't use that word in reference to women. But We should vote and give power to Democrats, and once they're elected, we will push them to the left. Like, did you all not get enough of this shit? Like in 2020 and 2016, like you all keep electing these people, they keep fucking you over, and it seems like you all enjoy it. It seems like you all enjoy getting cooked. I really hope Jill Stein costs Kamala Harris the election so we can rub it in AOC's face for 4 years. And yeah, honestly, I hope Kamala loses just so that we can just rub it in these smug assholes' faces for years. Like, you all think you know everything, but you really don't know shit. You really don't know shit. Like, why did Cori Bush lose? If y'all so smart, why did Cori Bush lose? If y'all so smart, why did your boy Jamal Bowman lose? If y'all are so smart, why is the squad getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller? Because you ought to know what the fuck you're talking about. Your politics are lame. They're not winning. They're not winning. I tried reaching out to AOC's office twice a couple years ago to speak about the abuse of immigrant children being held in U.S. custody. As a professional with experience in child abuse, I expressed my concern that there was no independent governmental agency charged with investigating instances of reported physical, emotional, and sexual abuse of children. So, how does AOC staff back? One took this guy's information and never got back. A second, who worked in policy issues related to children, was very interested and concerned with what I was telling her, said she was going to go into a meeting with AOC in a few minutes and would bring it up. She seemed eager to discuss the issue, but he never heard back. That's pretty par for the course for politicians. That's why writing and calling these people doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work. These people do not give a shit about you. They don't. But yeah, she's been getting roasted all day. God damn. How the fuck do you end up being less popular than Hillary fucking Clinton? How are you less popular than Hillary Clinton? AOC is a Nancy Pelosi, Dick Cheney Democrat slandering Jill Stein on behalf of a genocidal neocon cop, Kamala Harris. AOC is one of the most destructive political operatives in modern American history, and it's working people in the left who pay the price. Do you all in DSA who continue to stand DSA, do you all not realize how fucking bad this makes us look? Like, why would a Muslim person, why would a genuine progressive, why would a genuine communist revolutionary want to join DSA if there is no official statement repudiating or censuring this shit? There is no elected discipline. Like, basically, if you're an elected and you're a DSA member, you can say whatever the fuck you want. Meantime, us rank and file motherfuckers, if we criticize AOC, then we got a bunch of dumb motherfuckers jumping down our throats saying that we're demoralizing or disorganizing, whatever the fuck that means. No, this shit is disorganizing. Why is AOC attacking the Green Party, who by all standards has a progressive platform? Why? Like, do you understand how confusing this is to regular people? You fancy yourself a progressive. Why are you attacking the Green Party? This is all shit that you claim to support. Let's see what she has for Black people. Direct all federal agencies to consider and include race and ethnicity as part of all their initiatives and other programs implemented with federal dollars. Overturn the harmful Alexander versus Sandoval Supreme Court decision that currently increases the burden for or eliminates private right of action against entities that violate Title VI and other mandates contained in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Moratorium on all proposed cop cities and in federal investments in such facilities. National Office for Civilian Oversight Committees. A returning citizens task force to provide resources for the formerly incarcerated in an effort to expedite their journey back to full citizen status. Investment in HBCUs and leverage the power of the federal government to force states to compensate state-run land-grant HBCUs, the more than $13 billion they owe. Investments in programs that support Black-owned businesses. Universal single-payer healthcare system that addresses and resolves the health outcome disparities for the Black community, in particular for Black women. Eliminate food deserts. Justice for Black Farmers Act. Eliminate white nationalists from police forces by federal law and ensure that white nationalist groups' activities are routinely monitored due to their violence being the greatest single source of domestic terrorism. The Office of Civil Rights needs to be fully funded, staffed to fulfill its obligation to protect the civil rights of marginalized communities. Restore Section 4B and Section 5 of the 65 Voting Rights Act and permanently certify the entire law. Address and ameliorate the legacy of redlining through programs that deliver recompense for Black homeowners whose home values are adversely and disproportionately impacted to this day by this systematically racist practice. Federal moratorium on new construction of fossil fuel infrastructure and other polluting operations in or proximate to Black and other environmental justice communities. Reinvestment from policing and prisons into social, economic, and other programs that lead to direct community benefits. A federal commission to eradicate the lead pipes and tainted water crisis, which is still going on, by the way. Flint is still fucked up. Follow Little Miss Flint. I highly recommend. And impacting cities like Flint, Michigan, within 1 year after I take office. Work with Congress and impact the community members to draft and pass the Justice for Cancer Alley Act. I've covered Cancer Alley on this stream before. Coordinate with Black-led formations, including but not limited to the Black Hive and Movement for Black Lives, to codify proposals and demands included in their Black Climate Mandate, and coordinate with Black-led formations, including but not limited to an explicitly left organization, the Black Alliance for Peace, to promulgate their zone of peace strategies that combat and dismantle larger structures and interests that generate war and state violence, colonialism, patriarchy, capitalism, and all forms of imperialism, both domestic and international. So again, why is AOC? Why are some of my comrades? Why are they attacking the Green Party? Why is the Green Party attacking AOC? Because AOC is a fucking fraud. And AOC started the shit in the first place by doing what her Democratic masters wanted her to do. Like, if the Green Party did not do this, if the Green Party did not literally split the Muslim vote that Democrats think that they're entitled to, Democrats wouldn't give a shit about the Green Party. But now, and you have to keep in mind, the crooked Democrats, like, they're literally trying to keep the Greens off the ballot. Like, they're literally suing in court to keep the Green Party off the ballot. But now that they're on the ballot in the majority of American states, now it's an issue. That's why they're trying to get AOC to say this stupid shit. For the last month or so, she's just said nothing. She hasn't done her job as a congressperson because she's so busy attacking fucking Jill Stein and the Greens. And this is a double-edged sword because it's actually making people like me, it's actually making Black millennials, it's actually making young Muslim voters, it's actually making young Latino voters, it's actually making genuinely progressive people look into the Green Party. And most of us are liking what we see because we're actually reading our platform. We're not listening to fucking AOC. AOC is spent. So, yeah. Why is AOC attacking the Green Party? Because she's paid to. Because she's told to. Because she wants to be a senator one day. And I honestly believe that in that little airhead of hers, she believes she's going to be president one day. So, of course, she's going to kiss all the ass that she has to. That's what happens when you play the system and you think you're slicker than the system. The system is always going to fuck you over. They're going to buy you off, and you're going to end up making an ass out of yourself. So you got AOC, who is literally ripped off her whole platform from the Greens. Yes, all that Medicare for all shit, all that shit that she's talking about, she got that directly from the Green Party. So she stole these people's platform. She used it to draw on the very progressive urges of the majority of people in her district, the majority of people in this country. She's made herself into a left celebrity. And now she's uniquely positioned herself to be a sheepdog. She's doing the exact same thing that Bernie Sanders did. But Bernie Sanders is old. He's going to die soon. AOC is in her 30s, early 30s. So she's going to be around for a long, long time. So they're going to be able to use her for a long, long time. So yeah, that's why. That's why instead of listening to people like AOC, instead of allowing yourself to be a political chump, in Malcolm's words, you have to do your own research. You have to study. You have to root yourself in actually Marxist, Leninist, Maoist politics. Otherwise, you're going to make mistakes. Otherwise, you're going to fuck up. Don't fuck up. You're smart. You're valuable. You're useful. You're an intelligent person. You have a lot of good things to say. Don't allow yourself to be used. Don't end up like AOC. Because if you do, I will find you. And you're not going to like it. Peace.